Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the worst reviews ever. Today I got the Manic Genius in here. We got Amazing in the building. And KC Fred, he was out sick. But we gonna still rep for him. CLS is probably gonna be in a little later. But before we jump into the topics and the review, how's everybody doing today?
Good, can't complain.
All right, man. I see your place coming along, man.
Yeah.
You did that wall yourself, right? With the one with the painting.
Yeah, I did.
I like that, man. You becoming kind of handy, man. You're always late as shit, but as far as like your handyman skills, man, you stepping your game up over there. See, you got the foosball table. I might have to come over there and show you I was like the YMCA reigning champ in foosball.
You're welcome to come through anytime.
All right, I appreciate that. All right, Amazing. I see you got the pumpkins up. And before we started this live, I was trying to tell you like you're out of season. That's Halloween stuff. So why are you still in Halloween season? Why didn't you transition to like Thanksgiving?
This is Thanksgiving. This is the only room that's Thanksgiving. Every other room is Christmas already, pretty much.
That's a good point. You got your stuff everywhere. Intruded on my space. But all right, we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the slide. I'll go ahead and pull everything up. All right, Manic, if you could read this first one, and then I would butcher the names thereafter.
Okay, y'all can hear me just fine?
Yeah, you're coming in perfect.
All right, cool. Nowhere is a 2023 survival thriller film directed by Albert Pinto from a screenplay by Ernest Riera, Miguel Ruiz. I think it's probably Ruiz.
Yeah, you're correct. No, it's Ruiz.
It's Ruiz? Okay. Indiana Lista, Sean Winslow, and Teresa Rosendoy, which stars Anna Castillo alongside Tamar Novas. Taking place in a dystopian setting, the plot follows Mia, separated from her husband Nico, after a totalitarian government
yeah, you was right.
takes over their home country.
No, you did a good job on them names. I'm about to butcher them, even though you got them right. All right, the directors and the producers. Directed by Albert Pinto. Story by Indiana Lista. Produced by Miguel Ruiz. All right, we'll go ahead and jump into the cast. And the cast is real light on this one. So the cast, Anna Castillo as Mia and Tamar Novas as Nico. So, all right, man, we'll go ahead and we're going to jump into the rating on this one. So we'll start with Amazing first. We go ahead. What did you rate this movie?
5.5 between average and good.
Oh, okay, so 5.5. Mm-hmm. All right, the Manic Genius. What was your rating?
I'm gonna go with a 4.5.
So 4.5. That's in a decent category. And my rating is a 7.3. I had it in a very good territory.
Okay, so, since you are the outlier.
Oh, you're the outlier too. Let's go with you first. Since you're the
no. Me and Amy are still in the average decent. You're.
Oh, okay. So I got you. I got you now.
You are the outlier.
All right.
So. Explain yourself.
He doesn't like to go first because he always likes to get all the good info from everybody else. And then
no. I don't want to overshine you guys because when you're a man of excellence, stature, and wisdom, it's just easy to put you guys in my shadow. So I don't like that to happen. But since you guys insist, I will go ahead and do that. Now I put it as like a 7.2 in a very good territory because I think a lot of movies nowadays are just like remakes. And I like the originality of this movie because I like the whole concept. It kind of gave me vibes of what's the Tom Hanks movie, Castaway. Like the movie, but I know this is like a different, I'll say background and where it happened at, being in that shipping container and stuff on the ocean. But, I had that alone element. And then I also like the fact that they had the government. It was kind of like in the future type thing where, it's like, I think the structure of the government was like collapsing. So it had that element of it also. but the main thing for me was pretty much the originality of the movie. Like I said, I thought it was pretty clever how they did that. Had that survival element. Surviving in the ocean. She had to kind of get clever with things. Some of the parts, and we'll get into that later, where I didn't like it too much because it didn't connect all the way. But just the storyline, the plot, how it played out. You didn't need a lot of actors in that to keep keep the individual engaged. I don't think there was too many dull parts in the movie. There was definitely some parts where I almost threw up myself, but I will get into that later and stuff. So yeah, no, overall, I just thought it was a clever movie and a really good plot and storyline, and it was very original because you don't see too many movies in this sphere, in a survival thing. So all right, Manic,
Fred actually might have called out sick on purpose after you said that. He might not have been able to relive some of those scenes again.
Yeah. Some of them scenes was definitely vivid. I'll say that. I was like, damn. But all right, Manic, since you're the other outlier on the other end, why did you rate this as a 4.5 decent?
I rated as a 4.5, but just hearing you talk already, I want to change it just a little bit. I'm going to drop it down to a 4.2.
Damn, my speech made you drop it down?
Yeah.
Okay. There's always a hater amongst us.
Nah, I mean, I think that my real issue with the film, or first real issue with the film, is that they don't do a good job of explaining what's going on. And when the movie first started, I felt like it starts like every movie nowadays starts. They put you right in the middle of the mix, which I didn't have a problem with that. But usually movies start giving you almost like Easter eggs of what's really going on. And I think they tried to do that, but it just really wasn't enough. And then even at the ending of the overall movie, it still didn't explain anything. And they just left it so vague that it really didn't make sense.
But you don't. I guess I like movies, man, where it's left for interpretation. So that was another aspect why I did like that, where you got to kind of like put the pieces together yourself. So,
but the pieces that they give you, I mean, it's very basic. They tell you that it's a totalitarian government. You can kind of see that it's being forced on them, and there's another country who's fighting against it. But that's it. It's like they tell you that the issue is like resources. Like there's like a scarcity of resources. So this is the reason why they're almost exterminating people, which makes sense. It's like, okay, I can grasp that concept, but there's not really much build up to what happened, the steps. It's just like, boom, here it is. We're going to give you this. And then you just accept it and rock with the movie. And I think there were parts in the movie where it's just like almost unnecessary. And I think they tried to do a good job with the flashbacks, but the flashbacks just weren't as powerful as they could have been, because you don't get a chance to really see the relationship that she has with Nico. It's just always in this frantic state. They could have went back and showed a time when her and Nico had like a really good, strong bond and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's implied because they're married technically, but throughout the movie, all the moves, the main character, Nico, and what's the girl's name?
Mia.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, all the moves.
Two damn people in the cast. Y'all remember the names?
I know that's how unforgettable it was. Like, that's why it's in this territory. It's only two characters, and you definitely should know their names. But yeah, it just wasn't a memorable film. It did have elements of like the whole castaway and like being isolated, and I did like the resourcefulness, but overall it was just really unrealistic. And yeah, for that, it was just a decent movie.
Okay. All right, amazing. Why did you rate it? What was that? A 5.5 again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 5. I think I said 5.5. I thought it was good. I agree with some points that both of you made. I liked the fact that, to me, it brought back again real life scenarios, as far as people fleeing, their country when something's going on. People do get in cargo ships and try to go to places that they believe is better. I thought they showed some flashbacks. I actually watched that one a while ago, but I had thought they showed flashbacks of Nico and Mia, but it may not have been a lot. But I liked that aspect of it. I liked that it showed kind of the real life stuff, not exactly, but the scenario I thought was very real life.
Oh, okay. So we'll go ahead. We'll jump into the next segment to open the discussion questions. So first, would you recommend this movie to anyone? And I'll go ahead and kick it off. I would recommend this movie. I think, for a Netflix movie, I thought it was very, of course, by my rating, I thought it was very good. And, I don't think you'll be bored watching it, So I'll go ahead and toss it to Manic Genius. Would you recommend this movie to anyone?
Probably not. Yeah. No,
Okay.
No, I wouldn't recommend this movie to anybody.
Amazing. Would you recommend this movie to anybody?
Yes, I would.
All right. So I'll start at the top with you, Amazing. Would you watch this movie again?
Yeah, I would watch it again.
What about you, the Manic Genius?
It's going to be a no for me.
I will watch it again. Sorry, we'll go ahead and jump into the third question. So what did you think about the plot of the storyline? We'll start with the Manic Genius on this one.
Of course. I thought the plot was good. The plot was interesting. The storyline, I thought the storyline was above average, because they were trying to do a lot, and I think they were successful in doing a lot with a little. So I did like that, but the storyline is the part where they could have made it much stronger, and they could have showed so much information, because there was just so much, almost like dead space, where in movies when you don't have a cast that's like, we have a cast of like just two people damn near. You kind of have to fill in the spaces where they're not talking to each other and not communicating. So I don't think that they did a really good job as far as with the storyline filling in those spaces. I felt like there was a lot of gaps. There was like conversations between Nico and Mia that were very informative, which were good, but the times when they weren't communicating, it wasn't much going on until it hit like the climax part where she has to, go into survival mode and figure. And I thought that part was really cool. I thought it was very clever that they, the items that they gave her, and how resourceful, they allowed her to be with those items. So I thought that was a really good thing. It wasn't like they left her the perfect items, the shipping container. Like, no, it had like very practical and rings that, if used right, which she did use them right, she was able to, do some solid things with it. But overall storyline, it definitely took a L, with the space in between them not talking. It's like they could have did so much more with it.
Okay. I'm gonna be interested on the what would you change part. But all right, Amazing. What did you think about the plot or the storyline?
I liked it again because just of the concept of people trying kind of to flee to another area, and what people are willing, really willing to risk their lives as well as their families' lives. So I really did like that about the storyline. I also liked, which I thought was different, or I can't recall seeing anything, was it also focused on where it seems a lot of times it's the women and children that are protected in different movies. and this one, it was kind of like the focus of the killing. Like it seemed like they were killing the women and children, where especially children are normally, I feel, kind of like the protected ones. And there was a lot of pregnant women. So I don't know. I was trying to think if that was also, just if I had just noticed that randomly. Sorry, this dog has a squeaker. But I had thought that was just like an interesting kind of concept on it, where that was more of the focus than kind of, like taking the men or women or something. So I did like the way that was different. And I liked the fact that it did have some flashbacks. I agree, as far as they could have done a better job at just kind of showing the past life versus just so much focus, of her alone on the ship. That I think that was a lot. They could have cut some of that out. But yeah, overall I liked it. And I did, like I said, I like that little, to me it was a little twist, just having really the focus of the, that military men really focus on kind of eradicating the women and children versus the men, which I feel like that's more normal in those type of movies.
Yeah, just as kind of like just thinking about the plot and the storyline. I like what Amazing was saying, and I think that's what I liked. I did like the futuristic spin to the storyline, where it's like everybody's kind of struggling with resources. So I think that's we're not at that point yet, but I think there is some flashes of that. So I like how they kind of started touching on that element. And then, like, also, what Amazing was saying was like people trying to escape, the lengths that they'll go through to, kind of make it to, I'll say, like better territories and stuff like that. So, they could raise their families and stuff. So I like how that element played out. And I just like how it started off, kind of like in flight mode. And then, I think the whole Connex trapped in the water scene, that was just kind of unexpected, so it was like I say like a series of events that kind of happened, where it just wasn't like, early in the movie, they were just, trapped in a Connex. It was like that build up. They probably could have shortened it, like you guys said, a little bit, but overall, I liked how it all kind of connected and stuff like that, and how the whole Connex scene kind of, started spiraling out of control, and she had to kind of figure that out. So I overall like the plot and the storyline. I thought it connected. So we'll go ahead and jump into the fourth question. What scenes or actor or actress performances stuck out to you? And I'll go to Amazing first on that.
Amazing, leave some for us.
I was actually
Should
thinking,
recap the whole damn movie. Be like,
no,
I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, do your thing.
I'm specifically leaving a couple that I know probably more so would have stood out to you guys than me, even though I also was like, but her, when trying to think, sorry, threw me off there. the fish, when she finally did catch the fish and she was just eating it, just like, like gobbling it up. Yes, I thought that scene just kind of was just kind of but the other scene, one of the main scenes, was when she was trying to get over the top after she had kind of was able to get that hole at the top of the would that be like a I don't know what that's called, cargo or crate or something. But whenever she got out, she had that big tear in her leg, and she went like and got like the TV pieces and sewed up her leg and just did all this stuff. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was kind of an extreme scene, but those were definitely two scenes. And then at the end of the movie, when the fishermen found the baby and then ended up finding her body attached, and did the whole CPR scene, I thought that was the scene that stuck out to me too, just because I thought it was a little extra unrealistic.
Yeah, but was she like not breathing for like 20 minutes?
Yeah. So I was just like, I think they could have made that scene just more realistic in general. And then of course the phone scenes. There was quite a bit of unrealistic scenes that that stuck out to me. Again, overall, I liked the concept. I thought it was good, but more so the unrealistic scenes. I'll mention those and leave some of the others for you.
All right. The Manic Genius. What scenes or performances stuck out to you?
I'm gonna start off with the most Amazing mentioned it, but the most impactful scene was when she's hiding and on top of the crate, and they discover the stowaways, and they execute them right then there on the spot. And then they there's a small child that's like somehow didn't get hit by any of the bullets, but all the adults did. And then she's just there scared, and then you just hear one single shot, just poof, and then you hear a body drop. It's just like, it kind of, you get a lot of information in that scene. You get how in this time there, blatant disregard to life, and specifically even children. And that's very uncommon in other movies and just in real life. It's like in war, it's like women and children are, kind of evacuated, they're kind of given safety, but in this, it's kind of the opposite, or it's such an extreme that just they don't care about life. So that was the most powerful scene. Some of the other scenes, like the eating of the raw fish. I'll say the scene when she gave birth, that was very powerful. And then when the baby wasn't trying to eat, I mean, she pulled them jokers out, and I was just like, man, if I was that baby, I would have been like all in that. But I can understand, the baby didn't really understand the magnitude of the situation. The scenes where she comes, like in the very beginning, she's like quiet. She doesn't know what's going on. She's like hesitant to move. Like from the very opening scene, she's like this scared, like looking to Nico for everything. And then somehow she becomes this ultimate survival. And you see a glimpse of it first when she knows to like, or not knows what she's hiding. And she's like, wait a minute, let me give myself a better chance of survival by hiding on top of this crate. Like that's some like extra clever stuff. And it's just like, it doesn't show that in her character from the beginning. I would have liked the director or producer to kind of like give us like some background or make her, she went from 0 to 100. And then when she learned how to fish and like do when she became her ultimate survival girl, it just went from like one extreme to the next. But I mean, it's a movie.
She turned into like Bear Grylls and shit out there.
Yeah. Like what? I was just like, man, she's doing things that I think even the most savvy at survival, possibly would have been able to do, but I don't even know about that. And then there was other things like when she threw the chum and the seagulls came, she's like, oh, we're near land. Like, I thought that was cool, but as a person who likes animals and like I watch Discovery Channel and stuff like that.
Does that make you an expert now?
It doesn't make me an expert, but it kind of makes me an expert, in a way. You don't even have to be an expert. Throwing chum in the middle of the ocean is not going to attract seagulls. It's going to attract. Anyways? It's like it's like fish guts and stuff like that. Like not real. Okay. It's like scraps, but I mean, you're going to attract sharks. You're going to attract like the vulture type animals, especially if there's like blood. Like, so that part was unrealistic.
So the chum word, did you learn that on like National Geographic? How did you hear about chum?
Well, I've been fishing the ocean before, so.
Oh, okay.
He said SpongeBob SquarePants. No. I've actually been on a boat fishing and.
Okay. So that's like fisherman lingo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No doubt.
It's like
I've never heard it.
But yeah, you'll definitely draw in a shark or something that eats like leftovers like that. I mean, you could draw in a seagull, but yeah, likelihood is you're probably going to attract sharks and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, she's wilding for that. Would never do that in the middle of the ocean.
I don't think she had enough to attract.
I mean, she had a gaging wound. Like she stitched up, but there was clearly still some holes.
The leg.
Yeah, like once she had that injury, it's like you can't get in water at that point because sharks would smell that from like a mile away. Like, yeah, miles away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
She would have been gone.
So I'll go ahead and the scenes and performances that stuck out. I'll say the first scene that kind of, made it real was when they were like trying to escape and, her and Nico got separated. I thought that was a kind of a good scene because you could see the fear that was like going on. And, he was just like, oh, because he knew she was kind of helpless and stuff. So I did like how that scene kind of happened. Then also, I'll say the one scene that that was just flat out disgusting was when she, what they call that when a baby comes out and
she was eating the placenta.
Yeah, she started eating the placenta. I was like, oh, when she put it in like Tupperware and stuff, like it was like,
that was terrible.
Like liver, or yeah, it just looked disgusting. She pulled that thing out. She was like, hey, I mean, I don't blame her. I would have ate it too, but I would at least like took a lighter to it because then she have a lighter or something.
She did have a lighter.
I was like, man, why don't you just like act like you're cooking it? Like I would have just put like a little heat on there. But yeah, she just started biting it and tearing that thing up. I was just like, nah, I couldn't do it. And then the biggest, I wouldn't even say scene, but the thing that like stuck out the most was the baby crying. I was just, because I had to turn the TV off for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, oh, I had to like take a pause and, rest my ears a little bit because that baby was like just welling. So, I mean, it just made it real, like where she was dealing with like trying to fixate on like figuring out how to like cut the hole in the top of the Connex, but also like attend to her child that's like Manic was saying wasn't attaching to her yet. So that's why I thought some of that stuff was just like, damn, like that does suck, cut herself. So she's like figuring out all this stuff. Water's starting to rise. She's trying to measure that. But the whole time the baby's as well. And I was just like, she's better than me because I couldn't do it. I probably would have jumped in the ocean and like try to swim to shore myself. Like
you're on your own.
Yeah. So those were definitely like the scenes. And oh yeah, the scene where Nico called at the end, that stuck out. Not as a good scene, but it definitely, had its purpose when he was like dying for like 30 minutes, So that one, I was like, good Lord, this is drawn out. So my man was on there like, let me talk to the kid. He done talked to like the kid like for 20 minutes, her, then started coughing for another 5. I was like, good Lord, they drew out that like death scene. So yeah, that one stuck out also. But all right, we'll go ahead and jump into the 4th question. If you were the director or producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently? I'll go to you first, Manic.
Everything. Yeah, everything.
All right, so
yeah, that's it.
You want to give us those specifics, like?
Yeah. Okay, I'll give some specifics. Starting from the very beginning, I would have told the backstory of the woman and gave her some skills. First, I wouldn't have made her so hesitant, like when she first got off because the scene opens up with her getting out of this truck and they're like, move, 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 move. And she's so hesitant. She's reluctant. Nico has to get down and be like, hey, honey, we have to go right now. And the dude has a gun. Like, I feel like it's like she came into the movie as we are the viewers coming into the movie, like not knowing what's going on. And she knew damn well what was going on the entire time. So I felt like she should have had some pep in her step. So I would have made her have some pep in her step. And then in that like dead space when her and Nico aren't communicating, I would have allowed the story to be told, kind of like explaining her skill sets and like her background and her like her ability to like improvise, because it would have made the film more realistic when she when she turned into damn near Bear Grylls, when she was just like using every single resource in like its most opportune, and she was using every single resource that she had in like the most effective way. So I would have showcased like essentially like her ability to process that. Like maybe she was a teacher on survival, or maybe she was an engineer, or yeah, I would just allowed for a different storyline to be told, in like
So
the
you're saying like
flashback.
pretty much like if they wanted a shoulder so like weak and confused in the beginning, it would have connected more for you.
Yeah. If they wouldn't have showed her so weak and confused, it definitely would have connected more. And then later in the movie, they tell a story of like, or she tells the story to her like infant child. Um, yeah, your sister, the government came and we hid for a long time, and your baby sister really wanted to go outside and play because she hadn't seen the sunlight and after all many days, and I decided to like, what's a few minutes? I'm just like, that shit was dumb. Like nobody's gonna do that. Like that's just that part is just complete unrealistic. You're gonna risk your child's life and safety, just based off of because she's tired and wants to go out and see the world. Like no, you're gonna think about the bigger picture. Especially if you're a caring mother, you're not gonna risk what they were doing to kids because she was well aware what they were doing to kids. It's not like they didn't know what was going on. This was like the beginning. Like they were very hip to what was going on. She was hidden. And so I thought that I think they could have maybe a neighbor heard a child crying or something like that. And she was like confused, like, hey, do I give her what she wants and stop her from crying? Or do I like be disciplined and, be a mom or be a parent? And I think that like maybe that could have been the scenario that like, I should have just gave her what she wanted to like appease her. And then when this dust settled, then I could have like really disciplined her the proper way. I think that would have been a more better way to get her taken, other than like, yeah, just fucking go outside, throw a little paper airplane and do your thing and get taken away. Like, I felt like that was just dumb.
Yeah, I agree with you on that scene because it's like it's almost Armageddon out there, and you gonna let your kid go out and play. Like, yeah. So that wasn't the brightest move.
You can't be so reluctant getting out of the car, be super dumb and losing your whole child, and then be a fucking genius with whatever resources you get and survive and carry a baby. And like, she did like a level of growth that's like in like the science fiction fantasy type realm, like where she gets special powers and stuff like that. And I know with the movie, because nobody else had magical powers, there was nobody casting spells or anything like that. That's not where the director was going with that. So yeah, that's what I would do differently. I would make the character more consistent in her growth.
All right. Amazing. If you were the director or producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently?
I agree with the gaps and just the consistency as far as her skill level goes. I thought though that I didn't think that scene regarding the daughter Uma was that far-fetched, only because I feel like I see parents do things all the time that's crazy. Like I was walking the dogs literally yesterday and I saw a guy in the neighborhood. I'm assuming he was picking up a kid from the bus stop, and he literally had like a 2-year-old probably in his lap, like steering his truck down the road. So I was like kind of just watching him, and I feel like people do stupid stuff thinking it's like harmless. And again, this was like literally people that live among us in our neighborhood.
For comparison.
I mean, it's just dangerous. People put their kids in danger all the time.
I agree, because like definitely some dumb stuff, but we're talking about like almost like, the end of times, Armageddon, like they shooting people on like on site. It's like TOS is out here, and she's like, "Yeah, go ahead and play."
But
like you said a guy let allow his 2-year-old or something to sit in his lap and drive, but like he still is the one on the gas pedal. He's still the one on the brake, and ultimately he has control over the steering wheel. So it's like, how harmful.
He does not have control to the car coming down the road that crashes head on into him.
Well, no, he doesn't have control of
flies
that,
out
but
the-
nobody has nobody has control until the car crashing head onto you. So it's just
exactly, which is why
but-
he should not be allowed to drive with a child.
but as the person that's hitting the gas and who's stronger than a 2-year-old, he can maneuver the steering wheel wherever which way.
So
he
you
wants
said
to
it was
move
like
the
a little
steering wheel.
2-year-old. Let me play this out for you. Here he got his hand on his wheel. The kids just there imitating whatever. So not a smart move, but
okay, people, they were driving. Like, they were literally driving down the road. They passed me.
In
you're
a
talking about the
neighborhood.
road that they go like 5 miles per hour. That road
Nobody goes 5 miles per hour.
with like
A
20.
kid literally, I think 2 days ago, just got hit at the bus stop in the hospital. That's why there's I don't know if you noticed this in the neighborhood. There's like a huge speed thing that the sheriff put out there.
Oh, okay. I did see that.
So you're telling me you have a bias towards this guy specifically?
Oh, I mean, anybody who lets their kid do that, I have a bias against. I think it's dangerous no matter what. But I think
I let my
again,
kid drive in parking lots.
Okay, so that's the point I'm making right now. I don't know if I would say that in public, considering it's a CPS consult. But
I wish CPS would.
I'll edit that out for you, Manic.
it definitely is. It's dangerous. I mean, people do dangerous stuff with their children all the time. I mean, I think the point is nobody plans on something to happen. So even with that, like, I think when they showed the scene again, I watched it a little while ago. But they were in like the country or something, so they were literally outside with nobody. Again, I'm not saying I would do it. I'm just saying people do dangerous things with their children all the time, thinking it's just like, it's fine, nothing's gonna happen.
You're a victim advocate.
I just said I wouldn't do it, and it's wrong. But people endanger their children all the time, thinking they're having a fun time. Anyways. So that, as far as the skill level also though, like even when, like she was MacGyver sewing up her leg with like TV wires, but then when she went to go fishing and she was like trying to do a spear. And I thought right away, like, you're never going to catch something that way, get a net, they're all over. So I just thought there was like a big gap there as far as the skill level.
All right. So that was your last change. All right. Before I jump into mine, hey, how you doing, CLS?
Oh, so
let me go back to the rating slide. So let me pull that up. What would you rate this movie as? Or what was your rating for this movie?
it was decent.
So you had in between a 4 and 5 category.
Probably like a 5, something like that.
All right.
Straight
Why'd you rate it in the decent territory?
5, 6, something like that.
Okay. So why would you rate it that? What's your
Too predictable.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the storyline is, it's not, at first I thought it was based on a true story. Like some of those events, I mean, it could happen. Like, it's not true, but the story is believable. So, I guess what was I trying to say?
I've
Like,
never seen a shipping container float.
Well,
just put that out there.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like, no, it is possible though. It's possible. Like, that could happen. Like, I've seen stuff on the news and stuff like that. Like, that could happen. But she was out there for like, was it 26 days? If I remember,
Yeah, she was out there for a while. Yeah.
Keeping track on the wall. She was writing it on the tape or whatever. I think it was 26 before the container sank.
Yeah, she was out there for like, I think it was 26 days.
26, like almost a month. So, yeah, I mean, it was fucking hard to watch, man, especially the beginning. That shit was hard to watch, man. Like, you know what I mean?
What was it, just like too slow, would you say?
Yeah, it started out slow. Like, the pace in the beginning started out slow, but man, I don't even really like seeing films like that. Like, when you see people slaughtering like women, children, and senior citizens and all that kind of stuff, man. I don't like seeing stuff like that, especially the part when they shot that little girl. That little girl, like, she might have been 3, maybe 4 years old, holding that rubber duck.
Yeah, about 4.
Yeah, I'm guessing like 4. She looked like my daughter when she was about 4 years old. That shit was hard to watch, man. That's why I just like, man, I was about to stop watching it at that point because it bothered me a lot.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a powerful scene. But I think, man, they were trying to show the emphasis of like the extent people are willing to, what they're willing to do to get away from like those type of regimes and stuff like that. So I mean,
the shortages, like the resources, they're running low on resources and all that stuff. So it was,
But all right, I'll go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
I just to add on to that, I was also gonna say, I don't know if you guys remember seeing, I don't know the specifics of it, but it was like a man was found at sea with his dog after like 2 months or something. I don't know if you guys remember. I mean, but it is pretty amazing the way like some of these true survival stories happen. So I thought that was interesting. The guy with his dog it just always sticks out to me, and that one wasn't too far away. And then it also just reminded me of I saw a short bit of a film a couple weeks ago, and it was also a true story of a man that was like cliff climbing.
127 hours.
Yes, that one.
This movie triggered that too. When I watched it, it triggered that. That's based on a true story though.
Yeah, based on a true story, and he literally cut off his own arm with some stuff he had in his bag to finally get out of the mountain. But again, it showed kind of like his survival. So I do think it's just crazy. And again, just going back to even when we lived in Arizona for a while, like literally on the border of Mexico. So where I worked, we would get a lot of undocumented people that were like found in the desert. I mean, men, women, children. And they were in terrible shape. But I think it goes again back to like people in some of these countries literally do whatever they can to get out.
But yeah, no, I definitely, I think, because I was telling them before CLS, like it kind of gave me the Castaway vibes.
Yeah, Castaway, 127 hours. Just all those survival movies when people do the survival.
Yeah, so I thought it was kind of original. I rated it kind of high because I just like original films and just how it kind of connected. There was some disconnects with everybody was saying as far as like.
Yeah, the story's original, but you could tell that she took elements from other films. So you could tell.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
The person, she took pieces from other films. You could tell.
Yeah, no, definitely. You could tell like there was.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just agreeing with you. Like, yeah, definitely you could see some stuff, but I'll just say is like original based on I think a lot of people do a lot of too many remakes, so I thought it was good just to see a break like a survival movie. I ain't watched one in a while.
Because when I jumped on, she made a comment that I was going to say about the whole MacGyver thing. Because I don't recall them saying what they did for a living before they started to run away, right?
Yeah.
It was like, how she learn all those survival skills though, man? Come on, all the shit that she did, it was creative as hell.
Absolutely. They did take it like to a height. So I do agree with that piece because some of that stuff I'm like, man, I done took survival training, and I couldn't come up with that. I would have been in that mug starving.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, some of that stuff I think I could have done. I mean, the stuff, everything she did with that Gerber, and then I guess like when she saw the plane, she tried to signal the plane with that piece of glass. Was that like a broken flat screen or something? That was a TV, right? Like a flat screen or something?
Yeah, that was part of the TV screen.
Part of the TV, the screen, and then she broke the glass off it or whatever, and used that to try to signal the plane before she cut her leg, and then used the TV wire to sew her leg back up. And what was it? Oh yeah, the part with the fish guts too. That was smart. I was like, man, that's some fisherman shit right there. That shit right there. Because seagulls stay close to
chum.
Huh? Chum?
It's called chum.
Chum from the fish. Gotcha.
No, that's what Manic was telling us earlier. He was like,
no, he's right. It is called chum, though. It's called chum. But shit. But if you really think about it, though, you can't eat too much fish because of mercury. Everything the fish eats, saying the chemicals in the water, everything the fish eats, that shit can seep in your system. And she was breastfeeding her baby. So that can't be healthy, right? Mercury.
Nah, but I definitely would have overdosed on some fish. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Mercury, though, that's what I'm saying. That shit is bad. It's harmful, though. The same thing with the placenta. That shit could be harmful too. When she ate that shit,
yeah, I definitely would have ate that too.
It could be harmful too. I was reading about it.
That joint up. Oh,
yeah.
He was reading about people eating placentas. What? Where you?
You can. They said you can steam it, cook it, eat it raw. You can. Yeah.
I told him I would have took the lighter to it. I know she had a lighter, so I would have like burnt it a little bit.
Yeah, we didn't eat it like regular meat.
I just took a picture of it because I remember when my son was born. His mom, she just told me to take a picture of it. It was gross.
You tried to eat it too?
No, we just took a picture of it. I just took a picture. That's it. I wasn't gonna eat it. I just took a picture. That's it.
Let's check.
It's a photo. It's a photo. That's it.
CLS pulled out his little bib, like he was in a,
Ooh.
He's like, I know I can eat this raw, cooked, or steamed.
So we just took a photo. That's it. I just took a picture. I
People
eat
do
it.
request to take their placenta home after giving
Yeah.
birth.
You said
Yeah.
what?
People will request to take their placenta home after birth.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Can you
too.
actually do it? Can you actually do it though? Like if it's not for like
No.
a religious purpose?
Not that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time in that area, but I think they said it's considered medical waste and they can't release it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
they
think
can
that
if you have because there's like a I don't know if it's a religion or a practice or a group of people, but you know, there's like a special way that they can request it.
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
like exceptions to every rule, but yeah, for the most part, yeah, I think you can take that away.
That shit was throwing me off, man. It's just like watching a damn karate movie. Like that voiceover, it wasn't lining up. I guess because it's a Spanish film. They said it was filmed in Spain, so
yeah,
that's
it's
the primary language is Spanish. Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little like relapse because, like you said, I
Yep.
think the Netflix would convert them over, but
yeah. They
All
couldn't
right,
convert
so-
that shit. That's just watching a damn karate movie. That's what I feel like.
but I'll go ahead. I'll attack this fourth question. So, if you were the director or the producer of this movie, what would you change or do differently? I think one of the things I would have done differently was instead of separating Nico and I forgot her name, Mia, at the beginning,
Yeah.
like how it kind of happened. I probably would have kept them together longer, you know, like when they were on the boat in the shipping connex and maybe they got separated in and they had to get on separate ones. And then they would have like, you know, maybe one of them died in the water or something. But, you know, I didn't like the phone element because, you know, like if you're gone that long without a charger on those cheap phones,
Yeah.
like there's no way like he's going to call. And I would have definitely took out that scene where he died at the end where it was like 15 minutes and he's just calling and he's talking to the kid. You know, that was the most drawn out death scene I've ever seen in my life. So
She
definitely
did.
would have.
Did she turn it off though? That's how she reserved the battery, right? She turned it off to save the battery.
Yeah, but one of them
No.
fell in the water and shit, you know.
She put it in the container. It was in that storage that with that little.
Yeah, she did. But I mean, she had one of them had like a cracked screen, so she had to like,
Yeah,
so I mean, she did turn them off, but even then, it was just like,
that's what I thought she was doing to preserve the battery. Since she didn't have a charger, so I turned it off. Then, cause that does work. That does work though. I've done that before.
oh no, absolutely. But you know, like if my man's on a run and they, you know, these people are shooting people on the fly like that, like my man's just calling like he's in the next town over and stuff in safety. So yeah, I just thought that, you know, the whole scenes with the phones, I thought they could have left that out. Like I said, I would have just, or at least like if he was like calling her like, hey, I'm on my way, I'm safe, and then got shot, that would have made more sense versus him like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, supposedly shot. Now he knows he's dying, so he's getting on the phone. It's like, man, ain't nobody calling nobody. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean,
like
you
that.
know, he was calling her to say goodbye.
Yeah, but the likelihood that you could like pull all that off and then talk for like 30 minutes, you probably could have just drove to the hospital and survived at that moment.
Yeah, I
You
didn't like that part either. I didn't like that part either.
If
And
this
then
movie would have
also,
came out,
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say if this movie came out like when cell phones were first introduced, then yeah, maybe they could get away with it. But like, cell phones have been around for a very, very long time, and if you can receive calls, then you know you can make calls going out. So it's like she could have called somebody, and like even 911 SOS, like to say that she's out there, and she had perfect signal. It wasn't even like choppy. Like they could have made it choppy and, you know, her lost signal and then calling back, like make it more a little realistic. But there's like, it's like, hey, she's able to get a hold of him and it's perfect connection. He's crisp. She can hear everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he hangs up the phone and now she can't talk to anybody. Like no signal, none of that. But go ahead. Jerk, what were you saying?
Yeah, because nah, man, when he popped up on that like last scene, my man was like, let me talk to her. Then it was like 5 minutes later, then he started coughing again. I was like, man, if you don't hurry up and like die, damn, like.
So he refreshed my memory. So I think when they what was it? So the only reason they separated was because I guess they put the women, was it like the women and the children on that separate container, and then he went to another one, right?
No, what happened
No,
was
no.
like he got off for something. I can't remember.
can't remember
Trying to
either.
help
No,
somebody,
he-
and then that's when they were like, "Get off!" Like,
Yeah,
No,
they told me-
he didn't even get off. They started banging on the door, and
Oh,
he walked closer towards the door, and then when the door opened up, everybody rushed in, and for some reason he just allowed everybody to pass him as they were rushing in.
yeah,
And then they were like, they shot the gun and were like, "Hey, there's too many of y'all in here. Like,
oh,
y'all
that's
get off."
yeah. He told him to
Yeah.
get off. He started making him get off. Yeah,
Yeah. And then he tried to run back, but somebody was like grabbing his foot, like in the struggle of like, "Hey, no, don't pull me off." And so that's why he couldn't, get further into the crate. But I mean, a reasonable solution would have been for her to just get off the crate, get off that same crate, and go with him. Like, I don't understand why that didn't cross her mind. Like, you
yeah.
don't
That's
want
what
to
I
be
was
split up from your husband. You guys are getting into another crate, so it's just like, okay, you go into that other crate.
thinking.
yeah.
no
She
big
was a little
deal.
frazzled and stuff, like like just puzzled and stuff, and then turned, like you said, turned into MacGyver.
Yeah,
But the last thing I would have probably changed in this movie was, I kind of think, man, like I would have liked if only the baby made it. Like she put in a good fight, and then the baby made it to the boat, like on Moses or something like that, and then she passed. I think that would have made a pretty good storyline. Like, hey, dang, she did everything to like make her kids survive. So I thought that would have probably been some good like changes to the storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But tossing it to you, CLS. What if you were the director or producer of this movie? What would you change or do differently to this?
Would have probably kept the two main characters together, the husband and the wife together. If that was possible, it would probably made her get off that container that she was on
Yeah, I
and go
agree with
back
that.
towards the husband or something like that. Because it would have made sense that in a situation like that, you would stick together, not separate.
Yeah, I totally agree. Because I don't.
Your chances of survival are better, especially if you got a man with you too, so yeah. Because
And like what Manic said, man, he brought a good point up with the phones, man. Because if you out in the middle of the ocean and you get like clear reception, like, man, you could have called somebody, man. I would have called the Coast Guard or something.
yeah. I guess like, cause maybe she was getting. So I'm assuming that she was drifting closer to land since she started getting a signal. Since the signal was
Okay, that's true.
So maybe she was drifting closer to land because it said she drifted. I guess it was Ireland or something like that. I think Ireland.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then.
Yeah, Ireland. So I guess that would make sense because she was kind of floating towards the center of the ocean, and then I guess it was drifting towards land. So I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Okay, so now we'll go.
That phone wouldn't work.
No, I wouldn't. That's what I was saying, man. Don't.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll go ahead and jump into the last question, and then I do got a couple questions for y'all because I do want to circle back on those survival movies. So now that you heard other perspectives, would you like to change your score or keep it the same? I start with amazing on that.
I'll keep mine the same.
What about you, Manic? You gonna?
I probably would drop it down one more point from the last point. So instead of a 4.2, I'd probably put it at a 4.1.
All right. I'm gonna keep mine the same. I was at a 7.1, very good territory.
You said 7.1.
Yeah, 7.1.
What you watching?
I like the storyline, man. I like different movies, man. I'd be so tired of like I thought it was just original, man. Based on what they pulled off.
It's decent. It's just decent. It's just decent. Like it's watchable. Like if you was hanging out with your friends and they never saw the movie and it's like, hey, let's watch this, then that's the only time I would watch this movie again. Like with hanging out with people. I would say, okay, well, we can watch it again if you want to. I already saw it. I didn't like it, but we can watch it if you want to.
Man, it just had that shock value for me, man, because it was like some parts, man, like I said, when she, when they were like shooting everybody, to start off with that. Then it's just like, man, when she was in the water, she gave that birth scene. That was disgusting.
Oh,
she ate the placenta.
Yeah.
My man, Manic said he would motor though. So,
That's it's all porn, yo. Hot. Since we're on that scene, she was fucking hot, bro. She was cracking. She was, yo. She really was.
So that's what you said. She had the perfect breastises.
She did have a nice rack. She did have a nice rack. She did.
So they had that birth scene that was like disgusted, and then man, I'm telling you that See, movies that could like irritate you. Because like, man, when that baby was crying, man, I had to like shut the movie off. I was like, man, I can't take this. I had to walk away, but I was still engaged, man. That's what I'm saying, man. It didn't really have a real heavy cast, but
it was hungry.
You could, it caught you in. So that's where, man, I thought it was original, like how they kind of tied it in. So would you change your score, CLS?
No, I'm gonna leave it at 5.
Okay.
It's a 5.
But all right, we'll go ahead and just open it up to some discussion. So what was that one movie y'all was talking about where the survival movie? I haven't seen that one.
127 hours, because the main character is, who James Franco is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
James Franco played the main character. I think the dude name is what the fuck is his name?
You said James Franco was in there though?
Yeah, because see, what happened was, I think the dude, he was one of, those guys that be like adventurers, you know what I'm saying? They're into like extreme sports and all that kind of stuff. Because he would snowboard, he would go hiking in the mountains and do all that type of shit. He lived in Utah, and he was in a canyon. He fell down in a hole, like a crack, and a boulder came down and pinned his arm, so he couldn't move. He was pinned in between this canyon and this hole. And he took one of those, those little Gerber knives or whatever. He had like a Gerber, and he used that shit to like cut. I think he cut it from like his forearm. In order, ultimately, he had to cut his shit from like the forearm all the way down.
Ain't no way in hell. I'm gonna die at that point.
He had to, I mean, there was a lot of buildup though. He didn't want to do it right away, but it was like get to the point he was starving to death. He was drinking his own urine. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. He was on some MacGyver shit. Well, no, Bear Grylls. You know who Bear Grylls is?
Yeah, that's
Man versus Wild. He was on some Bear Grylls shit. He really was. He wrote a book, and then afterwards he got married, and then him and his wife. Yeah, so he's still doing the same stuff. He just got half an arm now. That's all.
That's the one I told you we watched on a Sunday. They're talking about like relationships because he didn't tell anybody in his family he was going out.
Yeah,
so that's what he did for him.
So it was his own fault. It was like, cause, I mean, his parents was like calling his apartment over there, leaving voicemails and shit. He didn't leave a note or nothing. He just left. He just got off of work, got his gear, and just fucking left. I said, man, it's your own damn fault.
Yeah. You go on some like extreme, like adventurous shit. Man, you better have a locator on you or something, man. Like,
exactly. He was.
But let me ask y'all something. Y'all seen that movie? You remember Alive? That was the one where they got like trapped on a mountain and they had to eat the people.
And eat the people. Yeah, Ethan Hawke. It was like a rugby team.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot Ethan Hawke was in that shit.
Ethan Hawke was in it. It was a rugby team. They had to, man.
That was a real story?
It was a true story. It's called Alive, man. They got trapped in the mountain and stuff. The plane crashed and they had to like start eating, the remains of the people that like died and stuff.
They weren't eating live people. They weren't like
no. They was like frozen a little bit.
Yeah, because it was winter time. It was surrounded. Yeah, they were surrounded by snow, so they have a good.
Yeah, no. So I do like the survival movies because it does have that like true element to it. So I guess that's why I did like this one, but. Yeah, there was some missing parts though, man. They did
just like Castaway, because that's not based on a true story, but it was still a good story. You know what I mean? It was still interesting to watch. Castaway,
even though that was a real good one.
But it's believable though. You know what I'm saying? It is believable. Because he was on that island for almost 4 years.
Yeah, that was funny when he showed back at the house. Homegirl had a whole kid and everything.
Yeah, completely moved on.
But she always felt like in her heart that he was still alive though, and everybody kept telling her that he was dead. He was gone. And then they found his.
She was about to go. She was about to leave with him, but she was like, damn, I do got this kid. Let me.
I think that was Helen Hunt.
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
Yeah. Yep.
That would have been messed up. Yeah, because I remember on that scene, I'm like, man, how would you even handle that? Like, man, because you could tell that was the love of her life. Where if they pop back up, like, would y'all just stay your current relationship, or would you like go with the person if they came back?
Well, see, that's what. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he didn't want to
do in that situation, CLS.
Well, he didn't want to break up that happy home, Probably the same thing he did. He didn't want to break up that happy home because I'm pretty sure she would have left her husband for him. But he was just like, he didn't want to break up the happy home. Left. Yo, you didn't see, you go back and watch the movie, bro. She would have left him, She would have left him.
They had a whole kid together.
That don't mean nothing, bro. She still loved him, or she was still in love with Tom Hanks.
But I'm saying, like, say you was the person, like, you was in a relationship, and then a person popped back up that you died. Would you Would you leave the current person you're with if that was like the love of your life?
You mean if I was the person on the island and I came back?
No. You're the person like in the relationship, and the person that was like lost on the island came back. Was like, hey, CLS, I'm back. I'm not dead. What would you leave with that person?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
All right. Manic, what about you?
Probably not, because I'm a fan of upgrading. So I would have been more mature and like going after like somebody that kind of meets. But if I wasn't able to find better, then yeah. If I had to just like kind of settle for somebody just for, I think I probably would just still be alone. But if I did decide to just like, okay, I want to be with somebody and like kind of settle, and then my person came back, then oh yeah, that motherfucker gone. It's like, hey, Bay came back. My bad.
You would have been like, hey, let me go grab my bags. I'm out. All right, what about you, Amazing? What would you do in that situation?
First of all, I want to point out, Manic, you'd then be paying child support for
No,
the new chick you just left behind. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
No, not always. There's ways to get out of paying child support.
And then you're talking like,
you don't work and then you're on that back child support. Yeah.
Nah. There's ways to get out of the child support. I mean, I don't date bums, so I mean, if I would have had a kid with somebody, I'm sure she would have a professional career of her own, and we would just co-parent.
We'll work that out. That's what I'm talking about. Man with a strategy. That's what I'm hearing. A man with a strategy.
Fantasy talk again.
I'm living it.
That's what I'm talking about. Execution. Strategizing, planning, and execution. All right, Amazing. So if you was in that scenario, what would you do?
I would have to do like a comparison.
Where you
that's real.
Like,
that's real.
you have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to pull out a quadrant, a SWOT analysis, and be like, all right, well.
And then come up with some like, look, this is what I've learned. I like. Need you to get on board and let me know.
I would have slammed it, but like, shut up.
Where's
my bag at? So I could go and
have two husbands.
In like seriousness though, in that situation, that person probably is coming back so jacked up in the head. They're not the same person that left, probably. I mean, if in that situation, for example, that person's been on an island by themselves for 4 years, they're coming back jacked up.
Yeah.
They're probably coming back better with a more appreciative like mindset.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
They're coming back better. Like, what do
hell
you
yeah.
I think they're kind of crazy.
He seemed to have his,
I'll tell them I'll support you at the hospital. Bring you some gift baskets and stuff.
So like if they came to your house, you'd just be like, nah, I'm good. I'm just staying here, and you're just gonna stay with your current family.
I told you I'd weigh the pros and cons.
That'd be tough, man.
I said, let that shit happen in real life. Your son will have a fit.
It's a tough situation. I mean, I'll probably like, I'll go with the person. I'll go with the person. Huh?
I said it is a crazy. No, I'm being funny. I think it's a crazy situation, but I do think, like in real life, if that happened, I think that person would come back with issues. But I also think there's at like some point.
No nagging on the island. You over there you're in a peace. My man was just kicking it with his volleyball. He was tranquil over there.
Eating fish and drinking coconut juice. Coconut water or whatever.
No, the funniest scene when he came back, you remember they threw him that seafood. He was like, man, I ain't about to eat this. Like, I was eating crab on the island. He was like, I'm good. Like, I'm about to go get a cheeseburger. But see, after he left that, did he meet that one bad lady? She was like the person driving that post office truck or something.
He did at the end. There was a FedEx.
So he upgraded too. That's what he's like, all right.
He did. He had that big ass Kool-Aid smile on his face at the end.
He was like, man, I'm about to He's like, let me get up out of here. Shoot.
FedEx that ass. All right. All right.
But I
like,
also
is this your package?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think even for the other person, and I'm trying to remember that movie because I can only remember bits and pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But I think no matter what, like if you leave with the person, if you don't leave with the person, I think it's going to mess up your relationship. Because then the other person is always going to be thinking, like, man, does this person even want me at this point? Yeah, I mean, really. So it's just like the dynamics would be so messed up. I don't think any of the relationships would last or be good. So, for example, like if somebody, like say I showed up and was like, hey, I'm back. Like the other wife is going to be wondering the same time, like, dang, she ain't dead anymore. So now what is in his head? So the dynamics would always just be so weird. I think it would mess up all.
You know what? I got a solution.
Yeah, to lock it.
I'm gonna menage that. Like I'm like, look, man, we need to all come together. We need to join our energies. Like, here's your room over here. I'll sleep in the third room. I'll split the week up. Because that would be messed up. Because in that person's mind, they're gonna be like, yeah, that was probably your true love. I don't know. You know, that's what I'm saying. It'll be awkward.
He looked at her picture like every day though. Remember, and he looked at that little cave that he was living in, that cave on the island.
You'd be thinking about that person all the time.
He thought about her every day. He thought about her every day.
Yeah,
so that's what I'm saying. Like,
because it was the dentist that she got with, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
See, and
that's right.
The other person,
the guy white dude from Law and Order.
Then your head would be like, did she always like him when she went and got her teeth cleaned?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just would have moved on. I was like, shit, you got a kid, you got baggage. Like as soon as I pulled up, I saw the baby seat. I'm like, what? Like, like, let me get.
Yeah, but even in that circumstance, the new husband is always probably going to have like a doubt in his head, like,
exactly,
does she actually want?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would have left her. I was like, man, you need to go back, get out of my house.
She
was about to go though. That's what I'm saying. Until she,
was outside.
You're saying I would have left.
She already cheated on the nigga. You didn't see when they were kissing in the driveway outside in the rain and shit. Wasn't it raining? Yeah, they were out kissing outside. You didn't see them kissing?
That's what I'm saying. She wanted to go, but it was like the kid that stopped her. Like, I gotta ride it out with this sucker.
Exactly. You know they cheated on the nigga, so what's the difference?
Yeah, he should have.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they cheated on the emotion. They consider that what, cheating on somebody emotionally too.
Yeah, because she wanted to dip. So yeah, she's gonna be thinking about that. He's gonna write books. You know, he probably got movies. Now he blew up. She's like, damn, I should have left.
Share custody, man. They get shared custody.
Well, it's not. It wasn't even his kid though.
No, I mean,
you talk about the main guy.
If she left her husband, they would have shared custody of the daughter, right? Didn't they have a daughter or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they would. If she decided to leave and go to Tom Hanks, that's what I'm saying. They would have shared custody of that kid. That's what I'm saying. Her and her husband.
Yeah.
Right.
I just would like to point out that Nowhere was not that great of a movie. Since we're talking about Castaway,
it wasn't better than Castaway. But no, it was better than Castaway. Well, it's Tom Hanks. I mean, come on.
But I thought this was a good movie, man. We'll go ahead. We'll hit the outros and stuff. So, part of words. We'll start with you, Amazing.
Check it out. I thought it was pretty good. That's all I got.
All right, Manic Genius. Part of words.
Good movie. Wouldn't watch it again, but if you want to see somebody transform from being scared, reluctant to being the ultimate survivalist, definitely check it out.
Yeah, Bear Grylls. Yeah. Bear Grylls. Yeah, right.
And I would just say, man, I liked it. You know, I like movies for different reasons. I think Spain is definitely coming up, man. They doing some. I was watching some others movies from Spain, so they one of the countries I think that got real good movie core and stuff like that. So they blowing up. So we definitely gonna be watching more of their films and stuff. So stay tuned in to the channel. Keep referring movies to us, and we'll break them down and give them the ratings and stuff. But appreciate y'all. Peace.